Today I'm going to be reviewing the Intrigue expansion for Dominion, how these reviews work. We'll look at some of the mechanics, some of the components that make an expansion what it is, and then some of the better or worse things, whether it's strength or fun-wise for that. And for each of these things, I'm going to end up giving an American letter grade, and at the end you can weight them all together, make a grade point average that you can interpret how you will. Some context for Intrigue. This was the first expansion to Dominion. It came out in July 2009, a little under a year after the main game came out. It was supposed to kind of be an alternative at first in the first edition, but there's been a second edition in October 2016. Don't go finding the first edition. Why would you want to play with things that are like, they removed them for a reason. Don't do it. And then there was a rename of one of the cards in March 2023. It's now called Farm. 26 Kingdom cards in Intrigue. The new emphasis was on choices and these kind of playable victory cards, or victory card interactions, we'll call them. And so I'll go ahead and start with taking a look at those two. First, choices. Choose. That's what these cards say on them. Choose one, choose two, choose one. These are all things where you play the card and you get to decide, am I going to do one thing or am I going to do the other? Some of them choices, torture is an attack that gives a choice to your opponent. Mining village is, not like a choose, but, it's still, you're making a choice. Do I want to keep this mining village or do I want 2 coins? The thing about, like choices are good. You get to make a decision. Extra decisions are always good in Dominion because, you get to decide, what am I going to do? It's a way that you get to express skill. The problem with the choices in Intrigue is that oftentimes they're not particularly interesting. Like Lurker, choose one. Trash an action card from the supply, gain an action card from the trash. Well, if there's one in the trash, you better gain, and if not, you're going to trash one from the supply. Nobles, it's going to be very clear whether you need +3 cards or +2 actions. Mining villager, you're ever actually going to trash it? Probably not. Minion, do I need more cards? Is there anything left to do with this hand? Well, no, I want new cards. So, although choices give you this decision, these choices are not particularly interesting, and so for that reason, I'm going to keep this kind of an average B. Alright, victory cards. So Intrigue introduced playable victory cards. The one alternative victory card in the base set was Gardens, and you can't play it. Originally it had Great Hall, but now it's Mill, Nobles, and Farm. So these are victory cards that now you can do something with. Nobles is this draw card, or it can be a village. Farm is this, thing that produces coins. Mill will also produce some coins. And then you also have some victory card interactions, like Bear, and you can discard an estate. Patrol is going to draw your victory cards. Replace when you gain a victory card with it curses. And so, these are all actually kind of interesting things to be doing. Some of them are definitely a little bit on the weaker side, Duke, Farm, coming in here, but all these other things are definitely different. They definitely make your game feel like, you're doing something more greenish, if I can't say anything else. But, it's a good concept. Execution's a little bit not there with some of them. And for that reason, I'm going to drop it down a peg to an A-. Alright, components. Let's take a look at our attacks. Intrigue has 4 attacks. It has Minion, it has Replace, it has Torture, which are all great attacks. Minion's like this nasty discard attack, but it kind of self-counters. Torture is one where you can make your opponents just hate the game if you can play a bunch of them. Replace is this cool thing where normally it's this remodel that does some nice stuff, but if you're going into a victory card, something's going to curse. And there's also Swindler, which sucks. Swindler is this trashing attack. Each other player trashes the top card of their deck, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but as good as these other 3 attacks are, these 3 alone would be a really high grade here. Swindler really drags this down, and for that reason I'm giving the attacks here a B-. Alright, draw pieces. Usually you're looking for quantity over quality. There is quite a bit of quantity here. You can see that 11 of these cards in Intrigue are draw pieces out of 26 of them. That said, a lot of these are really, really awkward. Shantytown and Diplomat are like these village/draw cards that don't work very well. Wishing Well is barely a draw card. You have to be like psychic in order for it to be a draw card consistently, or have some combo. A lot of these draw cards, are only +2 cards, and even if you look at the +3 cards ones, like, if your village is coming out of Intrigue, ouch. These are generally non-drawing villages. So, although it has a lot of this volume that you kind of like, the strength of draws is not really there to match it. And so, despite having this volume, I'm really not feeling that Intrigue really helps you draw very well. And so, I'm gonna drop this down to a C. Alright. Payload, what are the cool things you can do with your deck? It's mostly, three of these are coin production, Baron, Courtier, Conspirator, these three are coin production. There's Bridge, which is really cool. It's a cost reducer, and so, this is your first, like, really explosive payload, kind of card where, like, maybe with Bridges in the Kingdom, I'm gonna buy all 8 provinces at once. That's not something that you're doing in the base set. And then replace, this kind of cool remodel. That said, Baron is sad. Courtier's even a little bit sad. Conspirator's not going to produce, like, tons of money. It's just like this thing that you have to insert into your deck, and it's basically going to produce 2 coins all the time. So aside from, like, Bridge and Replace, these 3 coin producing ones are not the most amazing thing ever. And so I'm going to put this down at a B-. Looking at some extremes, high-end strength, Masquerade Bridge. We've talked about Bridge. It's this really cool payload card. It's going to be really explosive. It's going to make it so that you can do stuff if you do have enough village, which, talked about earlier. Intrigue's really not big on the villages. And the other high-end strength one is a Masquerade, which is basically this +2 cards. It has a bunch of text, but it amounts to +2 cards. Trash a card. I'm not, like, thrilled. Like, if we look at the base set, what the high-end strength cards are, it's these trashers, and then we go to Intrigue and it's still a trasher. Like, this is not ideal. You don't really want your high-end strength cards to be, like, matching what's in the base set, especially for a first expansion. And so, although, I really do love both of these cards, I'm not going to give it the highest grade possible. It's going to be an A-. Low-end strength, we have Duke, we have Farm. Neither of these is very good. They are sometimes useful. Like, these 2 things are marginally buyable. Duke sometimes in games where you can't really draw, which is, kind of common in Intrigue. And then Farm in games, again, where you can't really draw, which is kind of common in Intrigue. They can be pretty okay. That said, in games where you can draw, which is a lot of them, these are really not great cards, and so this is going to end up being a D. Most exciting, Bridge. We talked about it earlier. It's this thing that will let you do explosive turns, big payload, really cool to have it early. That said, it's not very mechanically interesting. Like, it's just, you play a bunch of bridges and suddenly you're there. A lot of times with exciting cards, we're looking for things that are going to really allow you to express your skills. And although Bridge allows you to express your skills, because, playing a lot of bridges takes a lot of skill, it's the same skill as all of the rest of Dominion. And so, although it's a really cool card, we're giving it an A-. Alright, most unpleasant. It's Swindler. We hinted about this when we were talking about the attacks, but it's definitely Swindler. A lot of people complain about each other player trashes the top card of their deck, and, like, they're gonna complain that their good cards get trashed. Like, that's what Swindler's supposed to do, right? The problem is that, like, when I play Swindler, I want to see you trashing your good cards too. And it's really, really, really frustrating when that doesn't happen. Up to the point where I just don't play with Swindler because, like, you're not guaranteed to put this attack on them. Like, you don't want to be swindling a state to a state. You want to be giving them a curse from their copper. You want to be giving them a duchy from their minion. Like, That's what Swindler's supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be doing nothing. And, I don't play with it, so it's gotta be a fail. Alright, looking at some of this stuff, the fluff, theme, Intrigue's lacking in theme. I don't know, there's like this thing that's supposed to be like, these are cards that are like, I don't know, spyish or whatever. I don't know, some of the names are fine, but the actual, mechanics don't really match it. I don't know what to say. It's a C. Artwork's fine in Intrigue. There's nothing that's really terrible. There's nothing that's really good. It's a B. The vibes in Intrigue are off. It really comes down to that draw stuff. You can't produce Village. It has Swindler in it. It's really off. So vibes are a C. Put it all together, you get a 2.65. It's not a great expansion. It's kind of on the lower end. That said, there's some cool cards in it. You get to start looking at your big time payload with bridge, explosive stuff. There are some good attacks in it, even if Swindler draws it down. Like you get rid of Swindler and probably you're popping this up a little bit. And so, if you're asking, should I buy Intrigue? Yeah, I mean, there's enough good stuff in Intrigue that it's worth putting into your collection.